Hi, my name's Andrea Hayes. I'm with Women in Film, and this is our October second Tuesday event where I have the lovely Kim Douthit,
Hello.
first lady of horror, or you know her. I keep saying that because you are, but
Oh.
we're going to talk horror. We're going to talk Final Girls. We're going to talk feminism in horror films, and we have a
Ooh.
special guest that you probably can tell who it is because you read about it.
Yeah.
Naomi
It was
Grossman.
advertised.
Yeah, it's advertised some American Horror Story, and she's gonna join us in a bit. So, Kim, go ahead and tell us all about ghosts and spooked in Seattle and the teenagers that you direct to make horror films.
Oh, there's so many things. Well, yes, I do work with Spooked in Seattle as a paranormal investigator and tour guide. So I get all the spooky out there. And what is probably spookier is I make horror films with teenagers. uh, which is a delightful experience, but can be absolutely terrifying. I work with Youth Theater Northwest. We're starting a film conservatory this year, which I'm really excited about. But we do a program every summer called Summer of Horror, where we make 3 horror shorts. We're in post right now. I was actually just talking to my editor a little bit ago because we're doing our screening on the 22nd of October. We premiere this year's horror shorts. I'm very excited.
Well, I got to
Should be
see the
really
one at
fun.
Crypticon, and I, of
Oh
course,
yeah.
didn't know. I'm just watching it, going, "This is really good. Who? I wonder who wrote this. I wonder who did this. These kids are good." And then I see at the end, I had no idea really. I like to be
Oh,
surprised, and I was going, "That's Kim's group. That's amazing." So yes, it was the promposal one, and it was awesome. Yeah.
that was a really cute one. I was really stoked we got to have it premiere both at Crypticon and at Bone Bats. And it was really exciting because the kids work so hard and we have such little time. We put them up in we film over 5 days for just a couple hours each day. And so it's this is our 5th year doing the program and we learn a little more every year. But with very little resources, very little time, the students are such troopers and do just really lovely great work. So that one was particularly delightful to work on. Yeah.
Awesome. So, so yes, Crypticon. Go to
Takan.
Crypticon. See her
Hmm.
films. You also
Still
do,
have to finish editing this
yeah,
year, so let me see
go
how
edit
they
it, and
turn out first.
then go see it, and then go see it at Bone Bat. Get her in Bone Bat again. You know I mean it. I'll come
And if
after.
you've never gone to Bone Bat, go to Bone Bat. They've announced the
Hysterical.
dates. It's so
Oh,
much fun and talk about such a wonderful opportunity to see such a great variety of short films and a lot of local filmmakers.
what's the most haunted place you've been in?
Oh. Um I'd say one of the more haunted places I've been in is the Walker Ames house in Port Gamble, Washington. Um my ghost hunting group, we go there pretty regularly, usually once or twice a year minimum to do investigations. And my very first time there, I remember I didn't know a whole lot about the stories or the histories because we it's nice to be able to go in blind to a place when you're investigating so that you're not coming in with preconceived notions of these are the spirits here and these are the stories and this is what I should be looking for. And I remember just walking in and I'm like I have a podcast with another investigator I work with and we joke that she's Mulder and I'm Scully because I tend to be a very skeptical person. I believe in ghosts, but I'm very I like to have the evidence to back it up. I like to have kind of concrete data and things you can look at. And I remember walking in the door of the house and it was like walking through jello or something. It was you're just sort of hit with this feeling and
Mm.
it took me aback a little. Because I'm like, is this what when people talk about being sensitive, when people talk about feeling the energy of a place, is this what they mean? It was really it was weird to just feel like you were already surrounded by something. But there was, I mean, all kinds of stuff happens there. We've gotten crazy EVPs. I remember a point where we were on, it's the second floor, I think. There's a this one room that's pretty haunted, and we were doing an EVP session, and there was a couple of us in the room, and we'd asked something like, do you want us to leave? And we all heard a voice go, yes. I'm like, okay, cool. See ya. Thank you. Thank you for letting us stay in here for a little bit. We're gonna go back downstairs and you have a good night.
What scares people? Why do we love to be scared?
Uh well, I mean, I think it's at least for me, horror has always been a way to kind of like safely exercise demons and safely approach your own fears. And I was a kid with a lot of anxiety. And I think there's a lot of people who have anxiety that get drawn to horror because it's a safe setting to watch it and work through it and encounter it. I think there's these themes of life that we see happening before us in a horror film. I mean, people hear horror and they think, oh, blood, gore, guts, slasher films, whatever. I'm like, yeah, but like the themes of grief that exist in so many horror films, and alienation, and like the monsters are such a great example. You look at some of your classic gothic ones, your Frankensteins, and like it's so sad because in the original Frankenstein, in the original, not the novel, but in the original Universal one from
Oh yeah.
whatever, early 30s or whatever, he's just looking to be and to make connections with people, but people are terrified of him, and he hasn't even done anything yet. Before he's done anything, he's a monster. And so I feel like there's just a lot of things people can kind of, there's a any kind of feeling you've ever had you can find in a horror film and be like, yeah, that's I see myself in this character, or I see myself in this moment, or this sadness or this loss. And it's very human. Horror is so human. Scary stories are so human, and we see ourselves there. And I think there's something, this might sound like a weird thing to say, I think there's something really, really beautiful about horror, and what it can do for us and how it can be healing
No, I
as much
agree
as it
with
can be
you.
traumatizing. Yeah.
I agree with you. And what the women that would like run along and then trip, it's just like, oh, for God's sakes, get up. So, as a young little feminist, I would yell at the screen, and then like, stop it, just, oh my God, pick the gun up. Oh, for God's
Make better choices.
exactly. Come on, I'm 5 and I can make a better choice than you. But then I think when I was in grade school and the Avengers came out, the original one with
The
Emma,
original Avengers, yeah.
where she
Mhm.
kicked ass, and they got into sticky situations, and my dad let me stay up to watch it. So I was just like, see, there are women out there who feel
There are women.
like we're gonna look at the monsters and kick them butt.
Well, and like, as for me, I was a child in the 80s and 90s, and I grew up watching a lot of slasher films. That was, I love a slasher film because I those were some of my first introductions to horror. But one of the things I really liked is that this was one of the places I could see women. You had the final girl.
Yes.
And you had the women were the ones who survived, or at least a woman was the one who survived, or a woman was the story we were following. And that was not the case for a lot of media when I was growing up. So horror, even, and you can make arguments about, like, yes, there's a lot of sexism and sexualization of women and whatever, but it was still a place where you were seeing women being centered, and you were following them, and that that was something. And even then, you have Alien
Oh,
and
hell
Sigourney Weaver, and these just
come on, Ripley.
badass women, uh who are, or to your point, fighting the monsters, succeeding at fighting the monsters, and half the time still having to do it in heels. So,
And her underwear,
and
and
their
just,
underwear,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's like, well, you look good in your underwear. Now go kill the monster and let's
Yeah,
just go on with the story. And yeah.
prerequisite, actually.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like you said, on the one hand, it's like, oh yes, feminist icons and kicking ass. And did you have to take your top off? do we really need to see the breasts in order to understand the character? I
Is
mean,
that shower scene necessary?
and I know that a lot of people are out there going, yes, Andrea, shut up. Okay, that's fine. That's you, I don't judge. I just, but it's like, can we just get on with the story? That's when I watch those scenes. It's like, I guess they aren't intended for me because I was like, yeah, I get it. Okay, that's okay. Let's get
When
a good
it's
camera going.
I think a lot of media, you do have to uh have a context for the time period. I've been teaching this horror film discussion class to teenagers, and uh that's a kind of topic that comes up with them. They'll start focusing on certain things and looking at it from a 2022 lens, and I'm like, yes, that is absolutely fair, and looking at it from a contemporary lens, this is XYZ. But remembering for its time, like again, Alien, when Alien came out, and Ripley was this just insanely awesome character. Like, did we need the underwear scene again? Argue that, yes or no. But that doesn't detract from the fact that this was still something really, really important and really cool happening. So you have to kind of follow the journey and the progression and be like, and from there we were able to continue to grow and evolve in the
I
stories we're telling and how we're telling the stories. So we didn't just get here, and we're still continuing to grow and evolve in the stories we're telling.
And I say, like, comedy, it just shows you how ridiculous you are. Don't try to get away with anything because we will cut you down.
Yeah.
But horror almost puts a mirror on what's happening in contemporary society.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
it just became a trope of black man dies first.
Yeah.
And it's like, as hopefully we're evolving, it's just like, no, hey, look, they survived. Oh my gosh, the white guy got it, but yeah, you're seeing more of, and of course with Jordan Peele, it's just like, hey, I'm making you look at this, and some of it's
But
uncomfortable, and that's okay.
like queer representation
Yeah.
in horror, absolutely. I just watched a couple days ago, it's on Shutter now, Sissy, uh which I thought was really interesting, and some fantastic acting, um some storytelling stuff where I'm like, but I enjoyed it overall. But one of the things I loved is that, you have this primary couple and they're a queer couple, but it's never like, it just is. That's not a plot point. It's
That's
just
what it should be.
they're
It
going to
should
a
have been
bachelorette weekend
whatever.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's two ladies, and that's, like, yeah. And I celebrate those moments where we're no longer having to always make something be a plot point. It's just, this is the story we're telling. These are the characters, and they're human, and these are humans.
And this is what these humans are going through.
Yeah,
Other humans will go through
absolutely.
something else. Well, it's like
Absolutely.
a Star Trek, just in the background, there was like some groundbreaking crap going on
Oh
there.
yeah.
That,
Hmm.
until the first interracial kiss, yes, that's a big one. But if you look in the background and even on the next generation, it's like, yeah, we're just going to kind of, if you look, there's just all kinds of people going on in there and doing their thing, and it's okay. So I always just say, yes, it should just be a given, and like not a plot point. Like, look,
Yeah.
they're ladies. Ooh, we might have a lady shower scene later. I mean, I don't know. Just it's like, okay, if it actually, if you need to have it because in the shower they discover a time portal, and it's like, okay, okay, you had to have a shower scene,
You never
uh,
know. You never
but
know.
yeah, usually it's just,
Everybody does need to shower at some point.
I mean, they do, and
Yeah.
my shower is a time portal, so I
Yeah.
mean, I get it,
Of
but
course.
yeah, so I'm gonna go there now. But yes, and of course I love making monsters.
Oh yeah.
I do the special effects makeup and the costumes, and I love a good blood cannon. But
Yes.
um
I've been
but
hit with the blood cannon just recently.
oh yeah, they're fun. Mhm. Yes. But, but I don't know, it's something about making them, or I'll start just giggling. And when I work at Nile Nightmares, and making props and stuff, and
Mhm.
oh, there was a head, and we were putting it in the circus thing, and well, I killed a clown, and but I was like, okay, okay, I'll just tell you because you're gonna see it anyway. So I was like, we found this old head, and it had one of its eyes that looked like it had been chewed out. And I said, well, he could be a clown, and maybe the knife thrower just kind of like, and that's how it happened. And so I'm in there using my nursing technology know-how. I'm going, well, the vitreous solution would be milky and it would be coming out. Okay, so la 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 la. And the producer just walked by, and he says when he hears me giggle, he knows it's going to be a good prop. And yet I'm giggling at this person. Well, okay, it was a clown, but just with a knife sticking out of its eye, and I'm all like, yes, that looks good. Start to dry there, so we need a little darker. I get very particular about it. It has to be anatomically correct.
I mean, it's the details are important. Well, I will say, like, I like doing the summer of horror program with teenagers. A lot of my teenagers are not horror people, but they love making the films, partially because like it kind of demystifies it a little. Like if you're afraid of a horror film, there's no easier way to get over it than to be on set for a horror film.
Oh yeah,
When you are seeing like the person behind the blood cannon, and when you're seeing the makeup artist who's giggling as they're applying weird prosthetics, and kind of just, and how much fun it is to figure some of these moments out. So it's a, if you're really scared of horror, work on set for a horror film, because it will give you a whole other way of looking at the films, and a different appreciation for it. So that's my TED Talk.
Oh yeah, just building it. We did one with Cascadia Dread called the Garlic Bulb Challenge, and Abby Hartung. Yeah, it's a good one. Abby Hartung was the makeup artist, and I was a producer, and the director decided at one point that he was going to have one of the, spoiler alert, vampire kids vomit.
Sure.
And we're like, okay, so he's leaning over to Wretch, and then he's like, oh, we should show the vomit. And Abby and I looked at each other and we're like, well, what would vampire vomit look like? And then I love Abby, because we just looked at each other and we went, to the craft service table, and off we went, and just we're roaring with laughter, just making like, okay, it'd be this and that, and it would look like this, and but yeah, we were just, and it looks good. It's good vampire vomit, and it makes sense. And
you can put that on your resume, vampire vomit maker.
She did the vomit for Wretch, and was realistic vomit, and so yeah, Abby knows her blood and her vomit, so
it's important life skills.
And she knows blood cannons, but yes. Anyway, I think I hear a car. No, just kidding. I think our special guest is here.
Yay!
Hi, women in film, and anyone else that is out there. We want to introduce our next contestant, Naomi Grossman. You know her mostly from American Horror Story, but we're going to find out more about her. So welcome, Naomi.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we hear you're in a creepy hotel in Iowa.
I am. It's like Back to the Future down there. Like there's a diner that when I walked in, there was an actual record scratch. And like the entire room, with these like actual truckers, not these like ironic, hipsters with trucker hats, but like people who actually drive trucks, all turned to look at me all at the same time, and all figured I was a Democrat. I don't know. It was a vibe.
They feel it.
No, I'm from Idaho, so I know of what you speak.
Yes. Perfectly
it sounds
nice
like
people, by the way. Perfectly nice. I'm not, nothing against them. I do feel like I went back in time. Like, well, I could show you around, but you could also just Google like 1950.
It sounds like the start of a horror film. I feel like this
totally
is credits, and your car is broken down, and you walk in this diner, and you look around, and all in unison, boom. I kind of want to know how this turns out.
Yeah. I don't know. Will you guys check in on me after the end of this?
We got a search party ready just in case.
I know some Iowans, so we'll that would look for you. That that wouldn't be part of the No, we've got, I work for a haunted house, and we have a cannibal slaughterhouse on there. So
Like you do.
yeah, like you do. So I could see, the diner, like, what is it? Motel Hell? Do you guys watch?
Hotel Hell, yes.
By day they run a hotel, by night they run amok. See, maybe you're in. That's one of my favorite taglines of a horror film ever. Okay, so we have to address the pepper in the room. I mean, you are just famous for, 2 seasons of American Horror Story playing the same wonderful character. I love Pepper.
Yeah.
And one of the most romantic scenes that I've ever seen on TV is when you and your soon-to-be husband meet and just start staring at each other. And I was like, oh my God, I want somebody to stare at me like that. It's so.
I mean, my cat stares at me like that. I don't know if that counts.
Well, and the hilarious part is I thought, the entire season leading up until that scene, I thought he was my brother. So it was never really established. You often like look like your sibling, not your, spouse. But shoot, if you look like Pepper and you meet someone that looks like Salty, you better make him your spouse.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for someone that looks like Naomi. So,
I will never find anyone that looks like Andrea.
Aw.
I wouldn't want to. Yeah. I'm not my type. So and then we get the boring questions out of the way that you've answered 1,000 times. But so the prosthetics, how long did it take you? Because people don't understand how long that takes.
It's funny. I do. I need like just a card that I flash up, 2.5 to 3 hours. Yes, Evan Peters is amazing and smells like lavender. Yes. I mean, yeah. No, I joke, of course. But I do have to address the elephant in the room, and that is that I have not yet seen Dahmer yet, but I know he's amazing. I know. You don't have to tweet me. You don't have to text. I got it. Yeah, no, the makeup took about 2.5 to 3 hours. It was like a prosthetic nose, brow, ears, and then of course they had the fake teeth, wonky eye, fat suit, prosthetic arms. In the freak show orgy, they actually had a prosthetic chest that took 6 hours.
Oh,
so
you got to get the nipples right. So
very important.
Yeah, and I mean, and they did, believe me. There were actually producers stopping me, like, somebody get Pepper some clothes. And of course, I'm like, I'm actually wearing more than I would wear to the beach.
Yeah,
but okay, it looked naked anyway.
So
I mean, I'm a little disturbed that people think that's what I look like naked. I tried very hard to not look like that naked, but
people are walking by a treadmill.
Right. I mean, I am very fortunate that I get to take my fat suit on and off. It also meant I got to, graze craft services all I wanted. No one was going to see me, although with those prosthetic hands, that makes that difficult. All my time wasters were gone. If I wanted to text somebody, I needed somebody else's finger. It was, I had to remember to blow my nose before my 16-hour day started, just things you don't think of.
Oh my God.
Right. Well, I'm curious, were you familiar with American Horror Story prior to getting the audition or getting offered the part?
Not the audition, certainly. I mean, it'd only been on one season.
Yeah.
And I'm usually like, I'm just catching up on I Love Lucy, okay? Like, I am really late to the party. So I called, when I got the audition, I called a friend who is, on it. And he told me all about season 1, which of course didn't actually help me at all. Although I did have a vibe of, the tone of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I'd been at the Groundlings. I'd done, a lot of kind of over the top sketch comedy. So it was important for me to know, like, okay, dial it down. This is Jessica Lange. Okay, we're gonna have to like act.
You gotta bring it.
Yeah. So I had a little bit of an idea, but it wasn't until after I was cast, I went ahead and binged that first season, and wow. Yeah.
What was your first reaction to the leather suit? That whole like
I mean, I was terrified. I'd watch it in bed, and I'm so active in general, and actually embarrassingly watch so little TV that when I do sit still long enough to, 45 minutes, an hour to actually watch a show in its entirety, I can't. I invariably tune out. I mean, even in my own episodes, I have friends nudging me, you're on the screen, like, but I'm just, it's hard when the lights come down and I'm still, that's sleepy time,
Yep.
But not to say that it doesn't absolutely enrapture me. Truly, it's like the best show ever, and the fact that I get to be on it, it's even better. But no, I would invariably wake up with it kind of like playing on a loop, and it was I mean, it reminded me of like Poltergeist, being just sort of mesmerized by this static screen. It was terrifying. And that's even when it wasn't playing, that's just when I woke up.
It's just that left
that I was actually conscious for it. Wait.
There's a car commercial on. Ah! Well, I'm glad you didn't go into the light, Carol Ann.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be honest, like it's never been that scary since for me, because I can always just imagine the grip with the coffee cup 1 foot off the screen. I know how the sausage is made. I've seen, and the bells and whistles, and so it's no longer scary to me. But yeah, that first season was terrifying.
Yes, and heartbreaking.
Also, I'm totally afraid of ghosts and absolutely believe in them.
Ooh.
So there's that. It was sort of my Achilles heel.
They're not going to harm you. You just say, go away. You don't have to go all supernatural on them. But always carry salt with you, and you're
right. Well, I did move into an actual haunted house. So it's like I'm definitely leaning into this.
Tell what haunts it, who haunts it, what kind of entity?
Well, I'll tell you. His name is Peter Lawford. He was in the Rat Pack. That Peter Lawford.
No way.
British aristocracy, married to a Kennedy, partied with the Rat Pack, slept with every starlet in town. That one. He was actually in fact, all this Marilyn is, if you're not talking about Dahmer, you're talking about this new show Blonde.
Yeah.
About Marilyn Monroe, and apparently he was like the last to be in contact with Marilyn before she died. He actually introduced her to JFK. And that's actually kind of what sold me. Like, I had in my mind, she's like wishing the martyred POTUS a happy birthday in my bedroom, all the while, starlet skinny dipped, and old Blue Eyes and Sammy and Dean are taking turns using my toilet. It didn't really work out that way. As it turns out, I've since read the autobiography, or not autobiography, he never wrote, but he just drank. He drank, he did coke and Quaaludes. So
that's a combo.
It is a combo, although it doesn't make for a real long, bright future. He died only he literally moved into my place of pauper. So don't think I'm like living at the Ritz. I mean, I'm staying. Yeah. No, but he died only a year after moving in. He spent a lot of that year at the Betty Ford Center, actually near Palm Springs, where he was actually having a helicopter charter cocaine in to the I know. It wasn't working. But then he actually was found bleeding out on my kitchen floor, and then was rushed to Cedars-Sinai. Died a week later on Christmas Eve. Wow. Which is the date he is especially active. It's fun. I like I said, I love it. I lean in. He's He's like a part of my life. I've actually written a new one woman show of which he's a character. So, you know, he's having a wonderful afterlife.
Oh, good.
This is its own like movie or a new ghost hunting show just in your house. This is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for Hollywood history.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you know, as next gen Hollywood, I'm trying to, you know, make him proud.
I read Shelley Winter's autobiography, and she talked about how she had a really bad stuffy head cold, and Peter Lawford came over and gave her cocaine. She didn't know what it was, and he's like, "Oh, this will clear your head right away."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it will. And she's just like, yeah, she's going, yeah, it cleared my head, but cold. But yeah.
Maybe not in the way I'd wanted it to.
Yeah. It's like, look, I can offer a lady cocaine because I'm a gentleman.
Well, you know, you really have to be specific.
Yeah.
That's the lesson there. You know, I say it myself. I really want to be on the side of a bus one day, but I have to be careful because any moment I could be hit by one and I would indeed be on the side of a bus. So,
yeah, the monkey.
You know, when I speak to the universe, I'm very clear.
You don't want a final destination moment. That's not what we're going for.
No. As much as I love like a good death story.
Oh, yeah.
No, thank you.
So does anybody else haunt that apartment? Does Peter have company, or I imagine it's an older apartment then?
Yeah, I mean, it's mid-century modern, you know, it's 1950s, so no one else. I mean, listen, of all people, I'm sure he probably does have some friends over. You know, he's a pretty social guy, but not, you know, they're all friendly ghosts at the end of the day.
Well, if Shelley Winters ever comes over, tell her I said hi and I love her.
Oh, all right, I will.
Little celebrity ghost parties, like,
oh yeah,
I love that idea. I want that to be a thing, that all in the afterlife they're just going to all their old haunts, but and having little get-togethers, little parties, and having ghost cocaine.
Would ghost cocaine? I mean, okay, so not that I know, but cocaine that's white. I have seen it once, but would ghost cocaine be clear? I don't know. How do ghost drugs work?
How do ghost drugs work?
But you're gonna have to do some research for the movie we're making together, guys.
Yes.
Ghost cocaine.
Yeah. Fear and loathing in the afterlife.
We got a title. We're good. We're pitching it. I love it. Who's watching right now? We've got a pitch. Come on.
I'll get my person to call some people.
There you go.
Yes, fear and loathing. Yeah, I like it. Anyway, so Kim runs Spooked in Seattle, so she can tell you all about some ghosts.
I'm an investigator there. I don't own it or anything. That makes me sound cooler than I am. But no, I do paranormal investigations and the haunted tours and everything. I have a haunted doll over there. She's chilling. So
oh wow. That sounds like a good sequel, Spookless in Seattle.
Yes.
That's actually what I thought you said, but
it'd be actually a pretty good I feel like we're getting a whole franchise here. I love it.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Yes.
You can't kill a good horror movie.
It's true.
No.
It's true.
No.
How many saws are there? I don't know.
A lot.
Oh,
a lot.
I mean, the new Halloween, we're going into part
yeah, like, I mean, isn't it called like End? But come on.
Does it?
Yeah. No.
Michael does his laundry, you know, people do that.
It's true. I mean, and it's me. I'm people. I would pay to see that. It's like, as a horror fan, we'll watch anything.
I just love movies about people doing laundry, and you know, don't kink shame me.
I'm not yucking your yum. Don't worry. Well, so are you a horror fan? Like, do you like horror films? Do you like the genre?
So I have to be careful because I hesitated, and that's enough for like horror fans to like smell an imposter. Yes. Okay. However, I should say, you know, I mean, I made a joke earlier about only just now catching up on I Love Lucy. Like, literally, I was raised in this bubble to the point where, my parents were like uber cultured. So at our house, for example, we watched exclusively Sunday Morning with Charles Kuralt, okay,
Wow.
and Cosmos with Carl Sagan. So when I wasn't watching, like nature scenes and with Robert Frost, poetry underneath it, I was listening to the science shows. Um, so consequently, we didn't see a lot of like that 80s horror or really anything. I remember my parents like walking in on me watching Clueless while I was home from college, and the only way I was able to justify it was this is based on a Jane Austen novel, and it was like, okay. I missed my very first date with Jay Miller to go see Wayne's World because we had tickets to the symphony. So the point is, there's entire sections of pop culture that I know nothing about. It's like I would be a great person on Jeopardy. When you need to know like Baroque music from 1500 to 1619, like I'm your girl. But then if you want to know like the most obvious things that like everyone knows, like I don't. So consequently, no, like I literally don't know a lot of things that everyone else knows. I went to a few slumber parties in the 80s, and I saw some like this. But it wasn't around. Now, that said, I am a cinephile and a woman in film, and I've caught up since. It's been a while since I was under my parents' roof. So, at the end of the day, and this is the real answer, I just love a good story. I love well-made storytelling, and whether that's comedy or drama or dramedy or horror, I don't think it really matters. If it's good, I like it. And the fact is there's a lot of horror that's not, and I don't like that. I'm not big on slasher, gore porn, but I've seen some amazing horror movies, and gosh, I mean, I can just name a few. Does Clockwork Orange count? It freaked me out. Rosemary's Baby,
Oh, yeah.
The Shining,
Mhm.
the Vertigo, The Birds, granted, some of these are classic because again, I'm still catching up. But more recently, there was a Spanish film, The Orphanage, El Orfanato,
Oh, yes,
that was
yes.
really freaky.
Mhm.
I so there was actually a horror movie I did just last year, or maybe two now. I mean, with COVID, all time runs together. It was called 1BR. That's really,
Yes.
really fun. I recommend it,
Mhm.
people. So, yes, I love horror movie, but I'm not a blanket fan. Like I would say, I just love good work, and I want to work in it. I want to do good work. I'm interested in characters at the end of the day. So, when I first got into this, meaning acting, I wasn't, necessarily focused on any one thing. I think I really, if anything, I pigeonholed myself into comedy because I figured this business is so hard. You got to get a gimmick, figure out what you do right, and just do that. And then I realized there was really kind of a whole world out there I was neglecting. And the fact is, Pepper, if you dial her just so, she's kind of hilarious. In fact, a lot of times she was. There were people that would, producers would stop me in the, hallway. Oh my God, you're hilarious in tonight's episode. And I'm like, thank you. Like, it's not a comedy. But at the same time, at the same time, you watch, let's say, the orphans episode, the her sort of episode, if you will, the origin story. And I mean, obviously, it's like one of the most heartbreaking episodes of the entire show. So I don't know. I think I like to think that I can do it all, whether it's horror, comedy, drama. It's just a matter of sort of dialing that down. When somebody falls down a flight of falls on a banana peel, it can be hilarious, or it can be tragic. So it's just a matter of sort of moderating, and again, kind of like an answer to your last question, gauging like what exactly is the tone of the show. Like, is it banana peel? Like, or is it, are we acting with Jessica Lange?
Right.
And I feel the same way. I mean, if you ask me, like, what are my favorite movies? Borat, hands down. Like that, but that's crazy over the top comedy. By that same token, I don't know, movies like Sophie's Choice and Dancer in the Dark, and I'm trying to think. I mean, it's a Sophie's Choice question, isn't it? But the point is, I just love good work, and so if the horror movie's great, I love it.
And it's like the rise of torture porn. Because I too love Rosemary's Baby. When it came in the theaters, my mother took me to the hairdresser to get me the Mia Farrow. So
yes,
I'm like,
I had the Mia Farrow for a very long time until COVID, and I'm still tempted by the, I don't know what I still think we women and men too, for that matter, just waste too much time. Like, it's just coming out your head,
Yeah.
But
anyway,
at the same time, I don't know. I figured it took a pandemic for me to grow it, so I might as well go with it.
All right, Kim, do you have any more questions? Because I know I've been watching the clock. Because
all the questions. If you had any questions, they're answered. Because I just went on a 50-minute monologue, like answering that and everything else under the sun. Well, I apologize.
I can ask you the other like Entertainment Tonight question. So how old were you when you decided you wanted to be an actress, and who are you wearing?
Yes. So I was gonna say conception, but that's maybe zygote, embryo. Which one's first? Like, there was really never a question.
Gamete first.
Yeah, I mean, again, my folks were so great about exposing me to culture. We'd go to the opera and the ballet and the theater and the cinema. And, my first movie in the movie theater was Hair. Which is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, ever since I could remember, sitting in the theater, looking up and just wishing I were one of them. And yeah, I mean, I remember being like first grade and writing, what am I going to be when I grow up? And I wrote like an actor or an astronaut. Like, that's it. And then I found out like later that year, probably, that astronauts had to do math, and that was it. There was no question. Well, there you go. I'm an actor. And, sure enough, I got, busy early. I wasn't, Drew Barrymore or anything, but I did pretty much everything there was to do in Denver, Colorado, which wasn't much, but, regional commercials, Father Dowling Ministries, and so I guess, when people got serious, like, what are you going to be when you grow up? I kind of was like, well, I'm already kind of an actor. So I guess I'll just keep doing that. And yeah, actually the producer on that one woman show that I mentioned that I'm working on now, we met New Student Week at Northwestern University, and she said, and it's kind of amazing and kind of cringy, she's to tell you, but she said that when she first met me, my very first introduction was, I'm Naomi Grossman, I'm an actor. Like, wow, okay, it's literally freshman year, like new student week, and I already like know what I am, and I always did. There was never a question.
Well, it's, you should know what you're doing. I've been all over the place myself, but I've always been, theater and film, and then everything else that I do. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've definitely, there was a long time. There was like 22 years in there between, first getting my SAG card and then actually being able to go to the doctor, using SAG insurance. Like, that's a really long time. I mean, my friends in that amount of time, like, managed to have babies, and those babies grow up to rent cars. So I had a long time to kind of wonder, like, am I really supposed to be doing this? Like, but at the end of the day, there was just nothing else for me there. So this is probably a conversation I need to have with a therapist, not you, but I do think, like, I was probably wrestling with the fact that, like, I didn't know how to, like, go back to my high school reunion and not be an actor. Like, what was I gonna, like, fake that I invented Post-it notes? Like, of course I'm an actor. Like, what else am I gonna be? Like, that would have been like the most shocking reveal ever. Now I realize, like, people don't care. No one actually cares about us as the way, and no one thinks about us the way we think about us. So I'm sure, Parker, Colorado would have recovered had I not become an actor, but I don't know that I could have. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I know you.
Oh, and what am I wearing? What am I wearing?
What are you wearing?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm wearing, again, Iowa has never seen anything like this. I'm wearing this fantastic dress.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Again, all the more
that.
reason why you can imagine me in the diner downstairs.
With the truckers.
No, I got this at Fred Siegel in Los Angeles. I used to teach Spanish among all my ding dong actor side jobs. I was a Spanish teacher and taught the one of the owners of Fred Siegel, or rather her daughter, and this was my form of payment.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
I think she paid me too, but let's just say I've got a nice little wardrobe to show for my Spanish skills.
Yes.
It is beautiful. It reminds me of the very elegant early 70s, before the 70s got ugly. I can say that I had to live through it. But the early 70s, man, there was some just beautiful, gorgeous clothes. And anyway, it reminds me of that. So
I've got kind of a 70s body too. It was before breasts were valued. Yeah. Before nipples were obscene. Yeah. Yes. I just realized the other thing I'm wearing are these earrings that are probably ruining our entire interview. How very amateur hour of me. I apologize.
How are they ruining? Are they
well, I worried maybe they were clanking around and you're going to hear back, and all it's going to be is, 2 to 3 hours makeup, clank. Yes, Evan Peters is amazing, clank.
I think that gets through. People, their ears like clank, clank. What? Evan Peters? What?
Yeah.
Yes. Or maybe they won't hear it, and those will be the things that I answer again in the next interview.
The next one, yes, where you just, roll up here, just take my card, and then I'll just say it out loud. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for coming on the Women in Film, Ladies in Horror. It was, like, I was so excited to meet you, and just like, fangirling a little. So.
Oh, well, thank you for accommodating me in this creepy hotel. I do love your scary warehouse backdrop. I'm going to assume that is indeed a Zoom background.
Well, I'm redoing my living room, so got to
what
get
her
the
house
purple
looks like.
cement. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm always curious for anyone who acts in anything horror related, like, do you think you'd actually survive a horror movie? Like if your life suddenly turned into one, which it sounds like it could still if we don't check in later. If it suddenly became a horror movie, do you think you would survive it? Would you be one of the final people?
Oh, you mean would I not
Like
not
the end
open the door to, you know, when we were watching a horror movie and you're like,
don't do it. Or the zombies are breaking through and you'd get out of there just in time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been a blonde. I've had my scream queen moments,
Sure.
but I like to think that I wouldn't answer the door when it's like being axed down.
Who's there?
Again, I'm thrilled to act in horror movies. I would just as soon be in a comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your life had to be something.
Genres.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a ground zero type person. You know, it's like, oh, there's going to be a nuclear holocaust. Okay, how close can I get? So I just vaporize right away because I don't want to be a survivor. I'm just not. No, it's like zombies.
Yeah, I mean, as an actor, I gotta say, I have a very low tolerance for drama. So it's funny. People, you know, think, oh, what a drama queen. No, I'm like the opposite. Like, save it for the screen.
Yep.
Like, I can't with that.
Yeah, I get paid for that.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to live that.
Nope.
But, so Final Girl. That always brings me to like the rise of the Final Girl. I know Kim can probably tell us the whole history of the Final Girl, but you mentioned Final Girl Scream Queen. Why are they brunettes? Most of them.
Well, more contemporary ones. But if you go back to like the Hitchcock times, they were.
Oh yeah, then they were all cool blondes.
Because he liked them blondes.
Cool, not just blondes, cool blondes, ash blonde.
Well, if you're looking at it from the 80s perspective, it comes back to that whole demonizing anyone who was making choices to be like having sex, doing drugs, doing, you know, drinking. Oh no. And if you're bleaching your hair blonde, it must mean you're obsessed with appearance, and that's another no. You can't do any of those things. So brunettes could be, I mean, I hate to say like brunettes were considered the smarter ones or the good girls or the, you know, but there's a reason that you've got like blonde Marilyn. Looking back, we were talking about Marilyn, and being that like sex bomb, the bombshell, the, you know, the femme fatale. So that's the condensed.
I was born blonde and I was a big chested blonde, so people really thought I was dumb. But I'm a member of Mensa, so literally. There you go. I did it. I took the test just to say, yeah, shut up. I'm actually intelligent, so knock it off. With great cans, but you know, I'm smart. So are you working on anything now, or other than the convention, and then the one we're writing together?
Oh right, yes, of course. Well, I mentioned my solo show, which is a it's called American Horror Story.
Oh my god!
And it's kind of a love letter to fans. But it's like a 1 hour comedy special, which will be we'll have a big announcement later this month, October 17th, the 10-year anniversary of Pepper first appearing in Briarcliff. My 10-year anniversary of being on American Horror Story. We're gonna take that opportunity to let people know when and where and how they can see it, and reserve tickets in advance. But yeah, that's sort of gotten me through the pandemic. You know, they say take your broken heart and turn it into art. Well, that's what, you know, kept me going through it all. It's you know, a kind of autobiographical anthology of horror stories of self-compromise, and hence the horror. It's not a promiscuous whore so much as a hustler whore, a woman willing to do what she's got to do to get what she wants. And yeah, so it's kind of the pre-Pepper, post-Pepper, becoming Pepper. It's my evolution. Getting me to where I am today in a creepy hotel in Iowa.
You're living the dream.
I am the nightmare. No. So that's what I'm personally currently up to. I did just do a fun show for Netflix. I think I can talk about it. It's on. It's called Obliterated, and it's not out yet. First season will probably be coming out in early next year. It's the same producers as Cobra Kai, so it's that vibe.
Yes.
It's high comedy, high action. It should be probably everywhere, I imagine. And I have a small role, but extremely memorable. Which is kind of what I do, if you noticed a theme. Yeah, so you definitely can't miss me. And that will be early next year. I did just do, or didn't just do, but I did a movie called Replica, which that was last year, but I feel like it should be coming out anytime now. It's with Mickey Rourke, and it's more of it's a drama. I play a meth head, a pregnant neo-Nazi meth head. So again, me playing pretty much as far away from myself as can be.
There's a lot of words there too, to like, which one do you want? Like pregnant all by itself, meth head all by itself, neo-Nazi, put them together.
Yeah, why not? Just tattoo a big swastika on my belly.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do though. They come up with like the most outrageous like compilation of characteristics, put it in one and call Naomi. Yeah, but that's the problem with this question. People, they always say, so what are you up to? And I'm like, well, I did that. Like, that the question is, what are the editors up to? What's the director doing? You know what I mean? Because I did my job, and then I walk away. I just pray that it comes out, So that's why I can tell you what I'm doing. And then I gotta Google myself, I got to IMDb to find out what the others are doing to actually answer the question.
Yes, we filmed this 5 years ago. Do you think it can come out now? I don't know. I'm still editing.
Right?
Still editing.
Yeah.
I've been in those situations. I think we all have. Like,
yes. Okay. Although sometimes I feel like I'm being saved. Some of these things are like, I'm not even going to ask. Yeah. Like, I'm just gonna hope that died a death on the edit, the cutting room floor.
But then somebody finds it and it's like, hey, I got this clip I want to show you, and it's like, oh, shut up.
Exactly.
Young I was, needed the money I did.
Right.
Well, you didn't get paid for that though. Well, okay, but no, we all have our past. I just have to point out the Nicolas Cage pillow in back of you.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
You're telling me that it's not normal to have a Nicolas Cage face pillow on your couch?
Well, I have let's see, the pillows that are on my couch are from Evil Dead, the book.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, I can't, but I'm not. I'd show you, but I'm not in there.
He's sequenced, so like it's one of those where if you push up, he's sequenced. So I spend a lot of time when I'm watching movies because I can't sit still. So I just like give him like funky eyebrows or like a full beard, and then I take it away, and then I give him like fancy makeup and then give him a funny hairline, or it's just
maybe that's my trick to staying awake. You know,
You
it's
too
the
need a
dark
Nicolas Cage
still.
pillow.
I mean, when else is it dark and I'm still? Like never.
Never.
When I'm asleep, that's it. It's my body saying, now you sleep.
But if you have a Nicolas Cage pillow to give makeup on,
yeah, to
or a
zhuzh
funny
him
beard,
some eyebrows. Why not?
yes, it's widow's peaks all the time. No, it really, it's like it becomes kind of hypnotic. It's the best fidget toy I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
We can get the Nick Cage pillow to be in our film. He can be the leading man.
Yes, just the pillow. Yeah.
Just the pillow. Yeah, not Nick Cage. I mean, you know.
What I need to do, the pillow then needs to be haunted with the ghost of Nick Cage who's still alive.
Yes.
I don't know. It feels like something he'd do.
Peter Lawford comes in to give him some advice and offer him cocaine. Nick, you're going down the wrong path. Choose mine. Keeps coming back to Peter Lawford. That is so cool that you know.
Yeah, next time we do this, we'll zoom from there and I'll give you a little tour.
Oh,
maybe he'll even make an appearance. He's done that, you know. I
so
know.
Cool.
Does he have a rocks glass in his hand? I mean, you know.
He's like,
yeah.
He walks in the room. Double fisting. Yeah.
Oh God, yes. No, you're a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really glad this all worked.